Welcome to the Dearborn Show, filmed right here at Galata Sweets. Stay tuned for inspiring stories from our community.
Good evening, everyone. This is Hassan Ahmed, and I have the pleasure of hosting you today for the Dearborn Show. We have a very special guest today with us, a businessman, very young businessman. Ali, I would like to welcome you to the Dearborn Show, but can you tell us more? Who is Ali Bakri?
So I actually, I went to college for accounting. So that's what I graduated with from U of M Dearborn. But my roots started in coffee. So
Okay.
I was 6 years old, 7 years old when my dad established Cafina Coffee. That started back in about 98, 99. He was friends with Mahmoud Saraina, who had like a little corner store on Warren Avenue where he used to roast some nuts and very small batch coffee. So from there, they kind of...
But that's like a big jump from accounting to coffee.
Yeah, so my goal was never to kind of do what Dad did. You know, I always wanted to establish myself.
Okay.
So I did it, and I
So
did
what
accounting.
attracted you to go to coffee from accounting?
So
Is
I've
it your
always,
dad or?
it's kind of in my blood, you know. So since I was 6, 7 years old, I was pulling
just wanna
shots.
carry
of
the
his-
mission from your dad?
Yeah, it was pulling shots of espresso. It's kind of like keep the legacy going. So you know, I did accounting for 5, 6 years. I learned how to make my own money, and I realized like, okay, it's time to go back and kind of help Dad out, you know. But I didn't want to do what he was doing, so I wanted to add a twist. So I started an online company where it was just a website.
Okay.
You order beans directly to your house, and I figured it's the freshest way to get, you know, our fresh roasted beans to the consumer, direct to the consumer. My dad always did B2B, so he always supplied gas stations, restaurants, hotels, wedding halls, banquets, things like that. So I figured why not get directly to the consumer, you know, increase our profit margin on the actual beans themselves. And at the same time,
So
you
pretty
know,
much you opened like an online business
and
in a way.
an e-com business, yeah, exactly. But we wanted to kind of shift the model to like a subscription based where like you just order this bag and it comes to your house every 2 weeks. You find it at your doorstep, you know. So that was good. It was a good start, but it wasn't enough.
So what year was that when you started?
That was in 2019. We established the
2019.
company.
Okay.
And 2020 was really when the website took off during that era of COVID. When COVID hit,
Yeah, it
a
was
lot of
perfect
people,
time for e-business.
So a lot of people were trying to experiment coffee at home, so it kind of helped the business. One thing we do different than a lot of people is we have K-cups. So that's what I brought with us today. We even have Turkish K-cups, which does very well outside of the state of Michigan. We do, you know, in areas like Texas, California, Brooklyn, New York. Those types of people, like, they'll search me online, and we're pretty much one of the only people that do Turkish K-cups. So.
Okay. So tell me more about the roastery itself. Is it in Dearborn or?
Yeah, it's in Dearborn. So we actually started on Brandon Street back by Wyoming.
Okay.
We were renting maybe like 5,000 square feet. And then in 2004, they found a property on Greenfield, went into business with another, you know, local businessman who had the property. They knocked down the building that was there, and they built a 15,000 square foot facility. And that's where we still roast today.
Okay.
So that was a big leap, but it was, now it's starting to pay off.
No, that was definitely. So tell me more about your beans. Where do you guys get the beans
So
from?
there's a few farms where we've actually visited ourselves. So my dad and myself have visited, you know, in 2021, we went out and visited some farms in California, in Colombia, I'm sorry.
In Colombia, okay.
We have some distributors out from California as well as in Canada, and they're all independently sourced. So basically, any bags of beans that we get, we know which farm they're coming from. And everything is fair trade. We don't like the idea of, you know, putting people to work without paying them a fair wage. So even the beans that we get, we make sure that the farms that they're coming from are fair trade. Not all the beans are organic, some are organic. But everything is pesticide free, so that's very important to us. Like if it's something we won't drink ourselves, we don't want to serve our customers.
Can you tell the viewers more about? I mean, I don't know myself. Like I hear Arabica beans or other beans. What's the difference?
So that's funny you bring that up, because Arabica beans is supposed to be a higher grade bean than, for example, a Robusta bean. But if you're pulling shots of espresso and you have no Robusta in your coffee, it's not going to be a nice shot of espresso without that crema. But about a year or two ago, there was a drought in like the Robusta farms. So they said about 50-60% of the farms got wiped out because, you know, there was a drought. And so I think that was a way to play on the numbers to make the price of the Robusta beans go up. But now Robusta beans and Arabica beans, I think, are neck and neck. I don't think there's like much of a, a big difference. Now there's different types of like beans which are called like Quaker beans, which are not full beans. For example, they're broken beans, and like, and in the country of Colombia, they don't even let those beans leave their country. So they'll use those types of beans for, let's say, instant coffee or Nescafe or something, where they process them in the country and they don't let it leave unless it's like a processed coffee.
But Arabica beans has nothing to do with herbs or Arabica
No,
beans. People ask that question. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a myth. Maybe they came up with the name because supposedly the bean started in Yemen.
Okay, and they brought maybe the bean to Colombia.
But that's another debate that I don't like to dabble in because
And so tell me more about like the different kind of coffees. I know some of them is
so there's
blonde
different so there's different type of roasts, and then there's different type of coffees.
Okay.
So coffees come from different regions which have different nodes. So like, for example, Colombian beans are more berry flavor. If you're looking at like places like Ethiopia, you'll get a little bit more earthy, or Mexican coffee is a little bit more earthy. Then you can go to like Guatemala and get more like chocolatey flavors. So, and then there's like the roast type. So there's like blonde roast, there's dark roast, there's, house roast, there's a breakfast roast. And
so what's the difference between each roast?
So there's temperatures.
Okay.
So really everything in the roasting life comes to like temperatures. What temperature are you roasting this at? So like a blonde roast is maybe at like a 380 to 400. And then there's like a Saudi roast, which is like a 320, which is almost raw still, Okay. So like to grind that is very hard, and then there's like darker roasts that are like in the 430s and the 440s. Like our espresso roast is typically somewhere in like the 420s, kind of.
So
like
which one is more bold or more strong?
So in the caffeine sense, something blonder is going to be stronger in the caffeine sense.
In blonder, okay.
Yeah, which some people don't know that. But like the darker, you're probably going to get more bitter notes.
Less caffeine.
Yeah,
Oh,
less caffeine. I mean, it's still...
This is great information. I had no idea. I used to go for the blonde most of the time for less caffeine.
No, but
I had no idea it has more caffeine.
Yeah, it actually has more caffeine.
Okay, wow, that's amazing. So tell us more, Ali, about Bakri Coffee. What's your goal? How many? I know you have 2 shops right now.
Yeah, so we have 2 stops in Dearborn. We have one on Ford Road and a drive-through on Michigan Avenue.
Okay.
The drive-through was a little bit different of a beast because you got to be more fast-paced, and we're very like honed in on our quality. So it was kind of tricky to get the quality down with the specialty lattes because they take a little bit more effort than just like a pour and serve type of coffee. But it's been great. We even make lunch sandwiches at that location, which helps the numbers a little bit. And now the Michigan Avenue location has become a lunch spot. It's not really a morning spot or evening spot. It's a lunch spot, which is great. A 10 to 2 p.m. spot is nice. We're actually working on our 3rd location, which is something that is a little bit different concept than the 2 that we have now. It's going to be like an open bar where you're going to be able to see the baristas actually making the drinks in front of you.
Okay.
My shops now, one is either behind a wall, which is like the drive-through, and then like Ford Road, there's like an open counter, so you see the drinks like coming out, and it looks really nice. But at the Sterling Heights location, you're going to actually be able to see the baristas at work.
Okay. That's going to be in Sterling Heights.
Yeah.
Can you share the address?
Yeah, 16 Mile and Ryan. It's going to be 36839 Ryan Road in Sterling Heights, Michigan.
Excellent. So Ali, can you tell us like why people would go try your coffee versus there's so many coffee shops right now?
So
why Bakri Coffee?
So one, you're gonna get the freshest, cup of coffee with us because we are actually the roaster. Next, there's not a lot of people that mix 5 different types of coffee for their espresso blend. We do that, and we do it every single time. It's literally 5 different regions. We mix their blend together, and we roast it when it's mixed. We don't mix after the roast. It all gets roasted together. It creates for a very balanced cup of coffee, as well as like the crema that's on our espresso is kind of like no other. The other difference is a lot of these Yemeni shops, they're all getting the same type of beans. And we roast for a lot of Yemeni shops. So we see the beans come into our shop.
Okay.
And they're all roasting it at the same exact temperatures. They're all getting the same exact beans.
Same exact coffee. So basically with Bakri Coffee, you can pick and choose which one
exactly.
to try different kinds.
And you're getting something a little more elevated than For example, just the commercial coffee. You know, we are a shop that likes the bold coffee flavor. So we don't like milk downer drinks. We don't, you know, unless of course you ask for it like that. But it's really bold. Our coffee is bold. So
I know that I've seen it myself in different events. I see Bakri Coffee. You have like a truck, like a coffee truck. So you cater for events and stuff.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So that's one of our key business, like our avenue. So that actually started before the shops, and which pushed me to open the shop. So I did the e-com, then I did the catering side. And when I was doing a lot of the catering, they said, hey, like, we want to get a cup of coffee. How do we come to your shop? And I was like, yeah, I'm not really thinking about coffee shops right now. That's not like the route I want to go. And the more and more the question came up, I said, I think I have to do it. So I bought a couple coffee trucks. I figured this is the cheapest way to invest in, you know, and I put it in a couple like gas stations. The gas station life wasn't so well. So I rented a building and I put it in the parking lot. And right now, one of our current coffee shops on Ford Road is in that same lot. So it was exciting to see, you know, the community come together and kind of rally over coffee, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was exciting.
Maybe it's a good time right now. Maybe if you want to share the number for the catering, if somebody wants to call you guys.
313-356-5555. 313-356-5555.
The last question I have for Bakri Coffee, is there any, are you thinking about expansion to different states? Or maybe selling Bakri Coffee as a franchise, or is it still corporate? So
technically we're not allowed to talk about franchise, but we're working on agreements and FDAs and things like that currently. But we want to go to coastal states. So our idea is to get into, you know, the Texas market, the California market, the Florida market, some of the New York market. We like the coastal states. We like the higher earners. You know, we want people that are making over $120,000 a year to be our customers. But we're here to serve everyone. You know.
Excellent. Well, I do wish you best of luck and success in your future endeavors. Any last thing you would like to tell the viewers before we?
No, I mean, really, I just want the community to help each other out. You know, we want to serve one another. We want to stay strong together. You know, a stronger Dearborn, a stronger community is what we want to see. We want things to start in Dearborn and spread outside, so we could show, you know, the rest of the world what we're capable and where we came from. You know, our true essence of who we are.
Mr. Bakri, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm so impressed. I know you're a young man and you're already on your third store, and there's a bright future ahead of you. So
thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us today. I do thank all the viewers for watching. Stay tuned for another episode from the Dearborn Show. Thank you.